You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
Let's go. So, Nico, how you going?
I'm going well. How are you?
I'm good, Nico. Good. Watched a couple of movies and thought you might like to talk about them.
Yep, I thought it was good. It was a good sort of quest you gave us. A good idea. For
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, Roadhouse has just come out, 2024.
That's right.
I was not previously on the pod, but I was vocally against it. I thought, come on, stop remaking Patrick Swayze films. Like,
you read Dawn. What else have they done?
They've done Ghost recently too, I think.
They did Ghost. Oh,
I think so. Unless I'm dreaming that.
Well, at least
Point
they haven't
Break.
done Dirty Dancing. Point Break, true.
So a lot, like more like enough that it's like more than you expect. Exactly.
It's not like Swayze has an unimpeachable filmography where you're like, bloody, all of these are great movies.
Yeah, but now people are going to be thinking, oh, Point Break, you mean the one from 2017 with two random guys? No one's going to think that, obviously.
Yeah, I thought it was more like 2010. Now it's a classic in its own right.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I thought it was an interesting task.
So the double feature.
The double feature. And that's, I think Amazon are doing that. God, I hate to shout Amazon out. Let's not shout them out. We'll cut that.
But yeah, they've got, I guess, the rights to Roadhouse. And maybe they are just going back through their rights catalog and being like, all right, what do we got?
Yeah.
Anyway, they came up with Roadhouse. And so we thought we would do double feature review. I actually hadn't seen the original Roadhouse. I don't know if you had.
I hadn't seen it for a long time, that I've forgotten a lot of things that had happened, including some of my... I was just like, oh yeah, shit, the throat scene.
Yeah. And I guess we'll just... For the first Roadhouse, at least, it's a spoiler review because all the best bits really are in the final act anyway, and it's a 40-year-old movie.
It's sent up in MacGruber.
Yeah,
and,
I had no idea that. So yeah, I guess digging straight
into
it,
this is how
it's like one of the best bits of the original Roadhouse is that he has this. Yeah, go on. What?
When I watched it as a kid, it didn't register to me how ridiculous that scene was. I was just like, oh man, he took his throat. It's similar to like the guy taking the heart in Indiana Jones, where I was just like, man, like I was scared of people putting their hand in my chest because I was like, I guess that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Kill you. You gotta be wary of the
throat ribs.
The throat rib.
And so yeah, his character is known, I guess, for throat ripping. He's done it before, and he's kind of always craving it. And they played it up in MacGruber quite well because in this movie. This like it's not like a serious movie, but it's taking itself seriously, and this guy has a craving for throat rips.
It's quite clearly obviously.
It's like his hand is possessed.
His throat ripped the person that he was just like, oh, I didn't want to kill him, but the throat was there. But yeah, no, there was. It's a level of ridiculous that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying we're making it sound good, and I don't really want to give that impression of the first.
Oh, you didn't? I liked it still. I mean, I've seen your review, and not review. I've seen your rating. I'm only a half star
above,
higher.
Yeah.
But I think you didn't enjoy it though, like the movie.
I
as a whole?
enjoyed it, but I think there is a level of irony that we're gifting the movie that it didn't intentionalize during its production. Okay. I think it was produced pretty seriously. Like, obviously they are having fun with it, but I think a lot of it's melodrama that is just reading as camp rather than pure camp.
That's the word I was thinking of. It leans into the campness, which I feel was a deliberate decision, not really an accidental campness to it. I don't know, it's the 1980s and it's just kind of naturally very camp, so maybe it is more the time.
But like the throat ripping, right? Like that's crazy. That's not like
the karate, you know?
Yeah, they're doing the Tai Chi. Actually, I like that stuff, like that very 80s stuff. Like, we're doing Tai Chi, throat rips. What else is there? Mullets. Like, I do like
Patrick Swayze himself too. He adds a lot. Well, you might disagree, but I think he's fantastic and adds a lot. You don't like him?
No, not really. I
No.
think, I mean, like he does give a sincerity to the role, which he kind of always does, in the sense that he's
Oh, but a
committed to
level
it.
of mysterious to the role that that the main fella Jake Gyllenhaal. I do think he's a good actor. I don't think he's good in the other one, but I didn't like not even care. But I think his character was boring. Whereas I thought Patrick Swayze's was more understated, mysterious, and he had that kind of effortless coolness to him, similar to a Harrison Ford or a Kurt Russell.
I was thinking exactly, especially when I saw Keith David and the
Mhm.
side profile mullet at the start of the movie. I'm like, this is a role that was written for Kurt Russell, but has been, given to Swayze. So, look, Swayze's, I guess he's kind of fine in it, is what I thought. I think it's like a weak character. It's a weakly written movie. The dialogue is, you can't take it too seriously, obviously, but it does kind of earworm into your brain. Like, I was going for a run today, and I couldn't help but in my head just be like, pain don't hurt, pain don't hurt.
Pain don't hurt. There are a couple of good lines, and then
Yeah, I
there's
used to
mostly
fuck guys
bad
like
lines.
you in prison. That's a good one.
Yeah, but I think he actually meant fuck, didn't he?
Yeah. No, I think 100%.
Yeah.
It was like a prison
And I was like,
rape
whoa.
joke for sure, which is like crazy.
That's
Again,
what I mean. It kind of leans into that campness,
well,
right?
that's
Like,
the thing. The first 2/3 of the movie, I was kind of bored with it because it is camp without kind of being over the top in a way that's satisfying. And then the final act I found to be much more satisfying. That's when he comes in with just throat ripping guys. And it does get a bit more silly with it in that final stretch. And you have those lines like, yeah, I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
there's other ones. You are an idiot or something like, or like just some really just
I
unnatural
Which,
lines. But look, I could overlook that. Maybe after watching June. No, no. Well, I mean, it does.
Be
Like,
nice
to go back to it, it's so
until
important dialogue. It really
remember
can't
the
just
line,
be like something you feel in.
you have to be nice. It's like, be nice until it's time not to be nice. Like stuff like that.
I mean, I like that though. I like those lines, and I like the line where
well.
he says, "No one wins in a fight."
Yeah.
So like, as in like, it kind of that kind of. So it's set again in the next movie, and it's not. It's a bit kind of like eye rolly. Whereas in this movie, it's sort of fits his character. So if you think of his character as a little bit dumb, even though he's a philosopher, it makes, you know what I mean? Like the decisions he makes is like, okay, I can see that. Whereas Jake's is like, like you just get annoyed by the decisions he makes, or like the direction that goes. Look, I think the weakest point of the original, you could say dialogue is probably a close second, but the leading lady, like she's
horrible. It's such a funny character. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, I don't know if Patrick Swayze addresses her by her real name the whole movie. He just calls her Doc. There's like the scene where like she's breaking up with him and he's like, "Come on, Doc, what are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know, dude, like this is the love of your life. You're still calling her Doc, like she's one of your buddies. It was very funny that he was still calling her Doc by the end of the movie.
Yeah, I suppose it was just sort of like how he sort of recalled it. No, but yeah, she was. I just remember she came in at the end of the throat scene, and the guy was about to shoot him with a gun.
Yeah,
and he's like, why did you kill him? He's like, dude was like, come on.
Yeah.
Did you not miss the first like 15 minutes of him about to pull out his gun and shoot? Like, it's just, I hate that kind of
the violence is never like, oh, you're too violent for us. It's like, yeah, I just saved you from like 7 bad guys with my karate moves.
And
like,
they don't really correct that in the next movie, do they? Like, the leading lady still has that kind of, like, what did you do? Why did you kill? It's just like, did you not just realize that there was like all this death and that happened because your fucking dad and stuff?
Yeah,
like,
there's no choice.
Again, like, they had a good chance to. I think if you're looking to improve on Roadhouse, and certainly you could try. I don't think it should be attempted, but that would be one of the ways you go is like have a much more brought out leading lady. No,
I think
they did not do
what
it
they
all.
could have done is maybe more the 21 Jump Street kind of route, where it's like an inherently silly movie anyway, built on cliches and stuff. So it's hard to, like, they've kind of gone down the more dramatic role, obviously, but it's still kind of such a silly prospect, and they want to capture the silliness and the over the top kind of gleeful joy of the first one. So the remake is kind of like caught in these two worlds of like being dramatic and while still trying to retain the fun of the original. But especially with the cast, like the guy who's from Game Night, he's very funny in Game Night, and he's not really able to do anything here. He's kind of like but I think if they just went really funny with it, it could have been like a great movie, like, because it is a silly concept. But yeah.
So with 21 Jump Street, though, it does take its concept seriously. So it leans into the comedy. So I think it's kind of the opposite here, where it doesn't take the concept of the film seriously, but it tries to take the script or the drama turn seriously, or like, oh, you know, it's because they actually dumb down the plot even further to make it change from a whole town is basically under the thumb of this one guy.
Like
they just want to clear the land for a big, you know, resort, which is like everything other 80s movie. You know, like it's just they didn't improve it, they just made it more cliched. But then all the fourth wall mentions they irked me a lot.
Like
I don't know what they were doing.
Being like a Western, and he's the guy waltzing into town and dealing with, you know, no good outlaws. I don't like the hanging the hat on it. It just kind of, again, it's this sort of insincerity that we see. And it kind of does feel like that, you know, focus grouped movie.
No, I do. I enjoyed the previous one. I think I liked the first act, as in the setup, and I like from the very start, where basically he brings a guy outside and then just like says "see ya." Like that's to me a better establishment of his character than the first. Than the new Jake Gyllenhaal one,
where he fights five guys at once. With
CGI
right? punches and
says sorry all the time and says, "Have you got insurance?" Instead of it just being like, I think it's a clever turn to like literally trick someone to go outside and then just bar him off. That was to me a good start. And he kind of lays the law down when he starts at the Roadhouse, where it was called. It was Double Deuce. And just sacks a bunch of people. So, you know, I like his character's much stronger. I know you said it's maybe weak. But like Jake's is just, they call him Mr. Rogers, and then he has an angry turn. He wants to kill himself at the start. Like, I don't like the character, the decisions to flesh out and then water down other aspects of his personality were just completely wrong for me.
Yeah, he's kind of lost all of the coolness, which is kind of
completely
one of the main sort of interesting parts about the Swayze character is he is smaller than the other guys, and he is kind of weird. Whereas Jake Gyllenhaal is just kind of kind of like a role that we've seen Jake Gyllenhaal play a million times, like kind of like just a tortured, not an incel, but kind of sexless character that he plays.
No sex in this movie too.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
PG-13, Amazon Prime, like
that's. But you know, it's a studio decision. It's not a studio
movie.
So that's why I hate everything about this next one. I really just think it's completely what's wrong with cinema at the moment, or just movie making at the moment. Taking an idea that's been done before, watering it down into a acceptable studio level standard. So yes, adding like a few black characters, a few female speaking leads and stuff,
but not giving them anything to work with. Just
not really. No, they just got to be in the film, and they don't really. It's a completely. And I'll tell you what, I was kind of hoping Conor McGregor would salvage the film.
He's not horrible.
No, I think maybe I need to give him a second movie, because I wrote down he should never act again.
No, I think I think he just needs to be an not Jason Statham, but the director of
a bet. Oh, like
why am I blanking?
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie. Thank you. Put him in a Guy Ritchie movie. I think he would kill.
No, see, I was actually thinking that, because my thought went to Vinnie Jones when he sort of started appearing in Guy Ritchie films.
Like and I
thought, but he had a sort of he had a sort of already like he kind of knew
that he played on.
Yeah, exactly. He sort of was able to play
two times.
in a better
way, like, because Connor's like affected.
No, but kind of wasn't
false.
interacting with other people on the set, like on the film. He was given his lines, but they were just so dry. Like like his conversations with people were just waiting to hear their line and not responding to the line that they've said. It's just
Sure.
like whatever he's been said. So his acting was not good, whereas Vinny was able to sort of like
Be
at
in
least
the
capture
scene.
some of that. Yeah, I thought anyway. But his start was interesting. I was just like, okay, cool. I like that. The whole Terminator kind of walking around,
Yeah.
no clothes and everything.
Yeah. I think the
And,
movie wants you to like him. Yeah. Like, he's portrayed as a very cool character. But because the movie's not very good, it doesn't really land.
But a big difference is the main villain, right? So in the first movie, like I legitimately hated that villain so much. I want you to get your throat ripped out.
Yeah.
when he's threatening to rip his throat out,
Yeah,
I
he
was
pulls
just
the
like,
guy in the
rip
leg.
it, rip it.
Yeah.
And but he was just such an
His hand's
asshole, such a
twitching.
yeah. But the villain's like really was like got my blood pumping, and then this
There's
one,
like 4
the villain
villains
was
in this one.
yeah, but the main one was just that blonde sort of son of his dad. That
The
was
kid
not
from
really the sort of final boss. It was pathetic.
Well,
Like,
that's the thing. They spread it thinly. I thought that the cop was
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård for when he first showed up. He had a voice, but
because he had the voice.
yeah, but they were like, I mean, with the dad and the kid and Conor McGregor and the cop, there's 4 villains in the movie, of which none of them get anything good to do. I mean, Conor McGregor probably gets the most fun to do, but yeah, his character is just himself as kind of like a Terminator, as you say.
Yeah.
So nothing to the character, and I think you're right in that Conor McGregor's charisma isn't enough to carry the character. I still think he has potential.
Okay, yeah, I'll retract that. So he, with the right director, he certainly could. I just found that it's not a good first go.
No, I mean, better than
maybe
Ronda
it could
Rousey.
Well, no, has she acted since though? Like, not really.
No.
So
Gina
I mean, the
Carano.
thing is, some of them just can't do it. So Ronda Rousey's in that category, as well as I thought she would be good actually, because I thought she would have I think she's got this likability that I thought would sort of translate well on screen. Another one's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He sucks. He cannot act. But then you got like Dave Bautista. You got The Rock.
John Cena.
You got John Cena.
Roddy Piper.
Rowdy Rob.
Rob.
And from the I suppose Ultimate Fighting angle, who you got? I suppose there's others, but like
Yeah, I don't know.
the ones that have to use their head a bit. Maybe it's just kind of a little bit more difficult, and he's probably coked out every scene. Like,
yeah,
if we're honest.
it was kind of coked out acting.
Yeah.
It's kind of got the look and the vibe. Just really
it's
like
got a look.
Ritchie movie.
Yeah, for sure. I think Guy would definitely have. If Guy can't do it, no one will be able to.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't even really understand the Conor McGregor transition to acting. I mean, apart from just wanting to be a Hollywood star, I don't think that he's that beloved of a character to warrant it. I'm not making a joke. I just don't. Yeah,
I think he still wants to make the same amount of money he does,
sure,
but not get his head caved in, which is to me like it's a good sort of
motive.
Pivot. So look, speaking of like the MMA UFC angle to it was really to me just fucking abysmal. Like I hate it. Like it was clear that it was just like. Did they front the money, or at least like a portion of this, just with how they
but
had
I
all
think
the players?
They got the opportunity. They filmed it at one of the UFC. So they just had they have time in between matches, before matches, after, and they just filmed it at UFC as if it was like a real thing. But like obviously that's amazing promo for UFC. So I'm sure there was a partnership with Amazon. Yeah. I thought it could have been good, but it was underutilized. It was kind of one scene, one moment.
Yeah.
But I would have liked, kind of like how the new Rocky movies or the new Creed movies, the professional boxing stuff is fun, and I would like to see kind of a bit of the professional UFC movie. I guess that's a different movie.
In its own movie, right?
It's a different movie.
As a different movie, sure, like it works. But when it's leaned into just to establish a bit more back character, which is pretty aptly done in the previous one, just by sort of mentioning
Mystery.
there was some. They don't have a flashback. It's just there was he obviously killed someone. It was self-defense. People
or was it?
But they never explore
and having
it with
that
like an actual
mystery
scene.
is kind of like that's one of the good parts of the movie. Is just he has this mysterious background where he did kill a guy, maybe on purpose.
It was probably a throat.
Probably a throat rip. It's definitely a throat rip. First degree.
First degree throat rip. Look, yeah. So I really just didn't like that. There's just so many marks this movie just landed did not land and just you know that hate line you have like that sort of like baseline of hate for a movie was really just nailing it for me. So
it gave me a bit of that with the digital transition, not even transitions, but stitching together the action scenes. I don't know why this movie has like the worst CGI I've ever seen. I don't know why it has any CGI really. It's not a movie that should have CGI.
No, well, dude, this is what I mean. It's actually getting me angry to talk about because it's where we've gone. Like we have gotten into such lazy and choppy CGI, and they'll still make their money back because we're all schmucks paying for Amazon. But it's just so fucking lazy.
And the weird thing is, it's not like the director is some horrible hack, right? He did Bourne Identity.
Yes, which is we argue it's the best one.
Yeah, that's right. And it's at least, undoubtedly spawned the Bourne franchise. Swingers, he directed apparently, the Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau movie that launched their careers.
Oh, back in the day, yeah. I haven't seen that. Edge of Tomorrow was the other one that I liked of his.
Edge of Tomorrow, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, American Made, I actually enjoyed a decent amount as well with Tom Cruise. Like, he's a director that can make an exciting, fresh movie. And it is odd to me that it may be just the streaming model and the restrictions they have, or maybe the freedom they feel they have. It's not even like it's trying anything new, though. I just don't understand.
No, it's not.
Maybe it's
honestly watered down.
It's a paycheck for everybody involved. It's like
that's what I think it is. I think this movie is just a cash grab, just a paycheck, and it's just I hate it because it's just where it's going. And if it keeps making money, more films are going to be made like this. And this is the trend. I think. Like we don't see enough films. That's why I really beat up the Dunes, Killers of the Flower Moon, and like I didn't give that a great review. I know, but like I appreciate the amount of time and the earnestness that went into it. I feel sorry that I didn't like it. That's what I said. I was disappointed. Whereas this one, I'm just fucking. I want to write its death sentence. Just and never again should this group of creators be allowed to do anything.
And I'm not sure if it's controversial opinion. But Jake Gyllenhaal is maybe not that great of an actor after all. Maybe he's pretty one note. Like I just don't remember the last time he said Nightcrawler would have been the last time he surprised me with how good it was. Yeah, but it was still
he was very good though.
Yeah, he was very good.
No, I think that was a pretty that was a really good performance. Not
it was
just
no ounce of
Jake
coolness or like movie star quality to that role. It did feel like a character very removed from being the Hollywood movie star that is Jake.
Yeah. I honestly I think it's just a downturn where he's just being a bit lazy. So his last few roles, I haven't got them in front of me, but
Ambulance he was fine, similar kind of role. That movie where he was like the telephone operator for a police, horrible movie.
He puts more effort into that role than he did this one. I mean, I know you didn't like it, and it's not a great film, but I think there's more effort from him in that role.
Sure, he tried to cry.
Sitting down.
He couldn't cry, but he tried.
His life's been too good for him recently. So I mean, there's the Marvel
Far From Home.
Yeah, what was he in that again? Machine Man?
Mysterio.
Mysterio.
The Mysterious Man?
Mysteriosa. No, but like
actually, he was in the Covenant. I like that.
Though. Remind me.
It's the Guy Ritchie one where he plays like a soldier who gets kind of carted across Afghanistan by his translator.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I haven't seen it, but I mean, we have Jarhead. Was it a little bit similar? You know,
and that's kind of the role that he's kind of built his career on. I think the Jarhead role, that traumatized white guy soldier kind of type, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I see that he sort of knows his range, but I think he was on a pretty good roll until he wasn't.
There was a time where he was not the great, but potential for
He
put a lot of runs on the board. Generational talent. But
that's what happens. You just make some bad choices, or your agent does, or you just kind of figure, look, I've got enough, or like you just start doing it for the cash or the.
It does seem like he's more focused on looking as ripped as he does in this movie than his acting career, which is fine.
He gets his shirt off any excuse. That's the thing with Patrick Swayze. I think
there's a lot of that as well in the original.
Yeah, but
shirt
he wouldn't just do it. He would.
Yeah, they would.
Sort of like
it was always
that. The audience would beg of him.
They
would beg of him to do it until he'd wait until the last moment and do it. He sort of just kind of realized.
Whereas Jake's like taking it off and then asking you, "Do you like that? Do you want to see that?" And we're like, "All right, yeah, man." It's like It's Always Sunny in Philly when Matt gets super ripped and everybody's like, "Why would you?" He's like, "Are you guys not impressed? Why did I do this?" And they're like, "We don't know. We don't know why you did." That's Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Yeah.
That's a very apt comparison.
So, look.
So let's get final ratings. So for the first one, I said 7 out of 10. I'm certainly kind of near you. I know you said 6 out of 10, but I enjoyed it enough, knowing there's a lot wrong with it, but I can enjoy it. 7 didn't feel too high for me. If it makes sense.
I think it is, if we're honest, probably more in the category of so bad it's good rather than actually good.
No, I don't think it was so. I wasn't thinking this is a bad film at all. I honestly, I wasn't thinking like this is just dumb. I'm going to stop watching it.
They're playing throat rips.
I did give it some allowances
straight.
Being from a different time where
1984 is not a different time for throat rips being like a dramatic moment in the movie. And like, no, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous movie from start to finish. And it only like ramps up the ridiculousness to enjoyable levels for the final act. I thought the first 2 acts were very boring and long.
I thought the middle was, but I like the start.
The start had some good, just with the introduction of Swayze's character and everything, and I enjoyed the introduction of Sam Elliott's character as well. So yeah, I said 6 because I enjoyed it more than I expected about halfway through. And but I do take points away because I don't think a lot of my enjoyment from the movie was what the creators wanted me to enjoy about it. Like, it's a dramatic scene when he throat rips that guy and then drags him into the lake, and then he yells at the guy and goes, "Fuck you!" and then drops him in the lake and storms off. I think that was a dramatic scene, which I burst out laughing during. It was very, very funny.
Yeah. Okay, no, it doesn't want that reaction from you, but it's certainly... that's what I mean. It's a different era where it's just kind of... So for me, it's the good points outweigh the bad. The action's really good. I really like all the fights. They're very extremely well choreographed. Fights. Sorry?
They're better than the CGI fights in,
that's it. Because like you feel them, and you feel Patrick Swayze getting hit and getting hurt.
I'd rather a fake punch that like is a meter away from the guy's face in reality than like a CGI punch that connects. Because there were lots of scenes of like punches connecting, but it's like kind of like they're pointing the camera at it and being like, "Look at this CGI, which is fake, which takes you out of the movie." It was just What
about this scene? I just remembered this scene, the pull cue, where he gets a pull cue and does a pole vault onto the stage.
Yeah, stuff like that I can get around.
How can you not like that?
Yeah,
no, look, it's just it's when you're vibing and when you like something, you can sort of you don't really.
I mean, like there's
yeah,
I think
Whereas this one, I just don't. I think I gave it like 2 out of 10, so 1 star out of 5, right?
I gave it 5 out of 10. So
the half. So June was worse than this, was it?
stop using that as a they're trying
I've got to use
things.
this.
I'm not making the comparison. They're trying to do different things.
No, but I mean that's what you've done now.
I'm saying
June,
at what June was attempting, it gets a 2.5 stars for that attempt, and for what Roadhouse is attempting, it also gets so June actually gets less. June gets 2 stars out of 5.
This gets 2.5 stars.
But like,
no, I just don't like that model.
Okay, all right. If you're trying to draw a triangle and you draw a perfect circle, you're like, all right, you get some points for making a perfect circle, but you were trying to do a triangle, so I can't give you full credit for it.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense.
No, it doesn't, because
you're saying
June. June was June 2 was a triangle. No, because you didn't say it was not what it wasn't good because it wasn't what it attempted. You said you just were bored and not really like basically not vibing with the film.
I mean, I think
a lot of it.
It was a fun movie that was a melodrama that I found to be funny more than I found it to be like cool.
I'm talking about the new one. You found
one.
the new one. So the new one was any good for you? Like, so you
Some
like 5 stars.
I mean, 5 is not a great rating.
I know, but what stopped it from getting a 1?
Right. Okay. Right. I think it was trying
like
to be
poor movie,
a cheap, like not real. I don't think it was attempting for glory in the way that June is.
Yeah.
June's like trying to be a real work of art. I don't think Roadhouse has any aspirations of being a real work of art. It's just trying to be an entertaining movie. And I know you don't think it was entertaining, but I found enough of it to be
entertaining. Yeah. I was sitting on. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I didn't write any good points down. I was trying to remember what was good about it, but I really am scratching my head.
I did like the kind of UFC stuff, and I didn't mind the Jake Gyllenhaal backstory. And Jake Gyllenhaal plays it straight, and he's not a horrible actor, just kind of one note.
Yeah, where he turns. There was
I
a
did
scene,
like Conor McGregor a bit. So
yeah, okay. So I suppose you see there's a little bit more to work with Conor McGregor, whereas I just was like, I kind of was really just hitching my hope on him saving the film, and he didn't.
Yeah,
so maybe I was a bit kind of, because he didn't do that and he didn't come close. I was just like, please just give me something, and it kind of was just like, okay, this is what kind of movie it is. I'm hating this. Suppose I didn't mind the turn into just like anger, kind of like
being John Wick. Yeah.
I didn't mind it so much. I mean, it was like, okay.
I did like the scene where he punches that guy in the throat and he's like, yeah, I broke your hyoid bone.
Yeah.
And I probably collapsed your trachea. So you can't breathe right now. And then the guy's like drowning in the pool and dying. And he's he's being a ruthless badass. I kind of like embrace that part of it.
Yeah.
More than the kind of redemption arc of, he meets, the local townsfolk and, gets his soul back kind of thing.
Yeah. So that was okay. It's a little bit sort of they kind of did the same thing in the original one, slightly different, I suppose. With the throat, we'll give them the throat ripper. But yeah, they're my thoughts on that, and that's about it. Any closing thoughts? the throat rip.
I just think Roadhouse is
needs a throat rip, right?
1980s Roadhouse is an enjoyable romp. I would never dispute that. I'll watch it again, even though it's not one of those 6 out of 10s that you never kind of want to see again. It's it's just, I think it's cheese. I think it's not intentional camp. I think it's just a goofy movie made in the 80s in a studio setting, and they definitely tried their best and took it seriously. But yeah, it's a goofy movie. It's not a serious movie. The new one's a serious movie, and it doesn't fully achieve its goal either, but it doesn't have anywhere near as much fun. Well, at least my experience watching it wasn't anywhere near as fun.
Doesn't extract as much fun. Yeah. No. I thought it'd just be interesting to look at the RogerEbert.com reviews on this previous iteration and also, the modern one.
He's back.
And they were 2.5 out of 4 for the 1989, and then 2 out of 4 for the. So they're pretty similarly.
And that's the thing. I feel like, I think that it pretty much encapsulates what we've been saying about it, what the movie is like the first one is not that great of a movie, not like something that we need to go back to, right? We keep adapting Shakespeare. I get that. I don't get going back to Roadhouse and being like, yeah, this is the IP we need to mine. It's like they're at the bottom of the fucking barrel and they're just scraping up
Leave
whatever
Patrick
shit.
Swayze alone.
Leave Patrick Swayze alone. There's 100% going to be a Dirty Dancing like prequel TV series on Paramount Plus. Yeah, so the original is a fine movie and fun kind of romp, and I can see the nostalgia surrounding it. But yeah, it doesn't need to be remade, and the new one doesn't do anything to justify its existence. It's kind of like the Ghostbusters, or any of these like legacy sequels. I kind of count this in the same sort of area as the legacy sequels, where it's just like, yeah, anything we have that's not tied down, let's just fucking grind out whatever we can from it.
Squeeze as much out of it as we can.
Yeah.
Which is part of also why it's set up for me to really just despise this movie. Like it's
I think
fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, it's like a 1 out of 10 for like, hey, the health star rating, but for like
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's the crowns, the Arnott's crowns.
Yeah.
Half a star health rating. But I mean, they're at least delicious, whereas this is just it
doesn't even give you what it promises. What it says on the box, you can't have a fun fighting movie if all the fights are CGI. That's not fun for anybody.
There's everything. It's just so lazy. It's sort of like
it's not a superhero movie. It's not fucking like it doesn't need to be. It's bar fights. And what kind of works with the first one is the grunginess of it. It does at least try to give that feeling of a dive bar. This is a sanitized version of like a really sanitized, like the 1980s wasn't exactly this rebellious time for cinema. It was already pretty fucking watered down for what that story could be. And yeah, as you say, this one's watered it down even further.
Yeah. So, I mean, it stood out because it does have a cult following the previous, like the 89 version. So there's enough there for audiences, I suppose, who just like the pure, I don't know, maybe you could say testosterone, fucking, boisterousness of it. Like because the fights feel like good fights. And so I like that in the previous one. Patrick Swayze has star quality. He's not Kurt Russell. But he sort of adds a level of, like we've said it before, like mysteriousness and coolness.
He's a
little bit of charm.
He's
eye candy for the fairer sex, isn't he?
That's right.
They get a lot out of him, even if his acting's never been his strong suit, but he fits the role perfectly.
I agree with that. Tai Chi is also very silly, but okay. Well, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Probably ever again. I don't think I'll ever really think about these movies after this. I think put a pin in it, and I don't really recommend watching either. Maybe the original, like couple of beers on a Friday night.
It's good
be fun
to see. Sometimes it's good, like Boondock Saints. It's good to watch.
Yeah, they're doing that
where,
as well.
But they're like there's a cult following. And you can kind of see, is it yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. So that it's very similar, isn't it? Even though it's not even. It's from like 2004 or something, isn't it?
99, I think, or something.
Okay, 99. So now the 90s are getting tapped. Look, these kind of films are good to see if it's for you. Sometimes if it's not for you, it's really just not for you, and it's like it's so apparent that that film is so out of place in someone's taste. But like, so the 1989, it's like it's got a demographic that really love it. Clearly, this one's for no one. Like, no one's going to go out and say this was a great film. It's maybe a passable film. That's the best case scenario.
And I think that's what it's going for. Like with the streaming model, I think it's just passing for as inoffensive as possible to be, recommended on the most amount of categories as possible to pick up the most amount of viewers internationally, whoever has Amazon Prime. So it's nothing. So because it's for everybody, it's for nobody.
It's for nobody. All right. Well, let's leave it there. That was good.
All right. Call it. And that'll do it for this week. We'll be back for a different movie, a different
with some
time.
guests, possibly.
some guests. Write in if you want to join.
Yep. Please write, like, subscribe.
All right, Nico, thanks, Nick, and we'll see you next time.